Welcome to the Disrupting Obesity podcast. I'm Charlotte Skanes, and I'll be sharing ways to regain control over your body and lose an extreme amount of weight naturally. Being fat is about so much more than just the food. It's about your relationship with food. That means that dealing with your weight is about more than just the food, too. You have to change that relationship. You have to start disrupting obesity. Welcome to our fifth and final of the Ask Whatevers, just in this row. We're not stopping doing Ask Whatevers. I just wanted to deal with, I've got a massive backlog, so I thought, let's do some spring cleaning. We'll clear some of those out, and then all the new stuff that's still coming in, we're going to keep going with Ask Whatevers. Just, we're going to take a couple of weeks off from those. We've got the 100th episode coming up, which I think is really exciting, because this is episode number 97, and honestly, I don't know how that even happened. Well, it's been 2 years, so I kind of know how it happened. Anyway, today we are doing more of your questions. I think I've got 17 or so of them left that we're going to take on right now. And then we'll start back up with another Ask Whatever, probably in about 4 weeks, because there are still questions on the list. I just wanted to deal with the ones I haven't been able to get to for a while. All right, our first question today, did you ever use visualization? Yes, I did. I used visualization not just for my weight loss. I use visualization for a lot of things. I'm really into manifestation. Yeah, I would do things like I would visualize myself in the outfits that I wanted to wear. Because remember, I know they say that you're not allowed to want to lose weight for the so-called vanity reasons. Yeah, you are. You absolutely can. I lost weight because I wanted to look better and I wanted to feel better about how I looked. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you're allowed to want to lose weight for those reasons too. Yeah, we all want to have better health. All of the acceptable reasons to lose weight, those are the things we're allowed to say. Over here, you're allowed to say all the stuff that we're not allowed to say in other places. And you're allowed to lose weight because you don't like the way you look. That's fine. So I would visualize myself wearing outfits that I wanted to, my aspirational clothes. I would picture myself doing things that I couldn't do because of my size. And I don't mean like rock climbing or skydiving or, oh, there's a weight restriction on this roller coaster. No, I don't mean that sort of stuff. I mean, I would visualize myself being able to walk up and down stairs, like one step at a time, not having to one foot and then both foot on the same step and then repeat that. I would picture myself just walking upstairs with confidence. Just, in my head, I'd be like a normal person. You can walk upstairs like a normal person again. I would visualize things like tying my shoes without getting winded. I would think, oh my God, isn't it going to be amazing when I can be walking with people and talk at the same time without being worried that everybody's going to notice that I'm out of breath? Those types of things. And I know it might seem maybe kind of mundane. Maybe it seems a little strange or a little abstract, but those were things that I really wanted. Those were things that really mattered to me. I would even visualize myself pushing away a plate of food that still had food on it, because I always had to clear my plate. I had this thing where I had to clear my plate all the time. So I could close my eyes and picture myself just pushing away the food. You see that in a movie or something sometimes. And I think, oh, can you imagine if I just left a few bites on my plate and I pushed it away? So I would visualize those things in my mind, even if they were things that I wasn't actively doing or that I didn't feel like I could do yet, or that I, physically absolutely could not do, like tie my shoes without getting winded. I would still picture myself doing those things. And I think maybe that was almost more important than, closing my eyes and visualizing myself standing there in, a healthy looking body. Yeah, I would do that. But moreover, it was those little things that I was practicing and seeing myself doing in my mind, because I knew I was going to be able to do it one day. I just couldn't do it right then. And I think visualization can be a really powerful tool. Do you think appetite and metabolism can help or hinder someone on their weight loss journey? Yes, to both. I absolutely do. Understanding, especially something like your appetite, understanding how your own appetite feels and how it works. What time of day do you feel most hungry? When do you feel more hungry after this happens and then you do this? Understanding yourself, knowing yourself, awareness, my favorite first step to everything, is going to help all the time. I know they like to say that ignorance is bliss, not when it comes to a weight loss journey. You really want to know what's going on, and you really want to be getting to know yourself. What works, what doesn't work, what are your triggers, all the things that set you off. A much larger appetite is going to be more of a hindrance than someone who has a smaller appetite. I think, yes, those will definitely have bearing. Things like metabolism, that's a little bit trickier. We know, for example, that for those of us who've yo-yoed, for people who've, been heavy, lost a bunch of weight, gained their weight back, their TDEE, metabolism stuff, their TDEE is different than that of someone who has never gained and lost the weight. So if I use myself as an example, let's pretend that I have a next door neighbor who weighs 137 pounds, just like I do. I don't, but we're going to pretend that I do. Okay, cool. She's the exact same as me. We're the same age. We're the same height. All that stuff, the same. She, as an adult, has always weighed 137 pounds. I, as an adult, used to weigh 337 pounds. So in a horrifically unfair twist of fate, she has more calories to maintain her weight than I do, even though I'm the one who's used to eating so much more. So that's definitely something I think you need to be aware of as you're losing your weight too. And this will happen when, let's say somebody is eating in a deficit. They think they're eating in a deficit. They're tracking their calories. They're doing all the right things and the weight's not coming off. If that person has yo-yoed, I will suggest that we cut down from their TDEE. We cut it just a little bit more to try to find that sweet spot, because that number will have shifted because of their earlier weight gain and weight loss. Oh, I wanted to say too that, like with the past 3, 4 episodes, probably all of them, so that'd be 4 episodes, the initial questions today all came in through Flamingo Forum. I know it's not fair. Life's not fair. The people who are in Flamingo Forum, their questions always go to the top of the list, no matter what's happening, because you guys know I keep a big spreadsheet with everything in it. Flamingo Forum questions always get bumped to the top. And these questions came in from the forum. Third up today is the question, can you give more examples of safety nets and incentives? Yes, I can. Those are, in my mind, those are separate things. A safety net is like a boundary that you put in place for yourself to help you to keep on track with your weight loss. That's it. The incentives are like the little micro and macro rewards that you give yourself for hitting goals, whether those are goals on the scale, as in, I lost 5 pounds, I've lost 13 pounds, whatever that number is for you, or if they're incentives for just being able to do certain things. I incentivized things like we were just talking about, tying your shoes without getting winded, being able to push your plate away without finishing all of it. Those were behaviors that I would reward within myself, because something especially like pushing the food away or only taking 6 cookies instead of 7. Those are little things, little differences, but they're going to add up. And those are the type of behavioral changes I want to be making, that I want to continue making as I lose my weight. So an example of a safety net for me, I knew I had a problem with going to get something out of the fridge and then just standing there looking at the food, trying to decide what I was going to eat, but eating something else while I was trying to decide what I was going to get to eat. I know that sounds a little bit nutty, maybe. I don't think it will for everybody, but that's what I would do. And I would eat in transition. So let's say I was going to the fridge to get, I don't know, a bowl of yogurt, whatever, pickles, it doesn't matter. Pick literally anything. I'm going to the fridge to get myself pickles. Cool. As I'm standing there going, yeah, I think I'll have some pickles, I'm grabbing cold cuts out of the drawer where, you keep your cold meats. And, I'm eating cold cuts as I'm walking back with my pickles. Okay, so this is a problem because my brain's thinking about the pickles. It's not thinking about the cold cuts. I'm not going to remember the cold cuts. I'm only going to remember the pickles. It's wasted calories. All of those calories in transit were a total waste because I wasn't present with my food. I wasn't being mindful about it. So I wasn't going to remember what I had eaten. So I was going to go back for more food later. It's just the whole big cycle, right? So I put a safety net in place for myself. It started that I just couldn't eat at the fridge. Okay. No eating. If the fridge doors are open, no food in your mouth. Cool. That was a great safety net. It wasn't enough because I would take the food out, close the doors, and then just, walk back to the living room, jamming the cold cuts into my mouth. No dice. So my safety net evolved from the refrigerator doors have to be closed to I can't eat while I'm standing up. That's the safety net. And I don't use the word rule because I'm like a lot of people. I hear the word rule and I just go, no, no, no. And I push back with everything that I have. This isn't a rule. It's a safety net. And the reason I say net is because of trapeze artists. And I know you're probably thinking, what the hell does a trapeze artist have to do with my weight loss? I actually think it has a fair bit to do with your weight loss. So if you're learning to be a trapeze artist, which I've never done, okay, I am Gladys, please. I am not a trapeze expert. So if we have trapeze Gladyses who are listening, I want to apologize right out of the gate for any mistakes I am about to make about the fine and noble art of trapeze. I'm just making a blanket apology to all trapezians, trapezists, whatever, people who fly on a trapeze. Okay, so you're learning how to do that, and there's a net under you, right? The net gives you the freedom to soar because you know you're not going to fall flat on your face. You know that. You're not going to smash your face off the concrete below. It's not going to happen. There's a net there. I knew that I wasn't going to screw up with that part of my eating. I wasn't going to let myself down if I just made sure I was sitting when I ate. If the safety net was, I don't eat while I'm standing up. Okay, cool. That takes all the guesswork out of it. It shifts the blame. It shifts the onus off me. I don't have to worry about it. I just don't eat while I'm standing up. I don't have to beat myself up anymore. I don't have to worry about any of that. Safety net in place. I had a no eating in the car safety net. I had a weird safety net with my scale. I didn't throw my scale out. I took it out of my house. I took it to my mother-in-law's house. And the only place I would weigh myself was there on Sundays because we went once a week for dinner. I was driving myself insane with the scale. It was discouraging me. I didn't want to keep going given that every day I got on the scale and I saw a completely different number and they weren't always going down. Most of the time they weren't because I was weighing myself too often. It was too much. I was making myself crazy. So the safety net became, well, you can't trust yourself to not get on the scale every day if it's in the house. You're going to do it. And I knew I was. Back to awareness. Know yourself. I did. I knew I couldn't stay off that scale. So I took it out of the house. That was a safety net. I have a safety net for myself with water. Now, I've got that under control and I'm super proud of how well I've done with that. And everybody who's in the forum has been watching me every day because I'm tracking my water and I'm reporting back. Here's how many ounces I'm having every single day. That is a terrific accountability safety net, by the way. It's like a phone a friend, okay? I'm going to drink my water today and I'm going to tell you how much I'm going to drink. We have a whole section for that in the membership, but we do that with a bunch of things. But before I had my water under control, the only way I could do it was to have the safety net that I couldn't have any pop until my water was gone. That was the only way I could do it. And I know not everybody agrees with that approach, but that was what worked for me. And I knew that was what I needed. If I said to myself, no, I'm just going to intersperse them. I'm fine if I have, some Coke in the morning and then I'll have a water. I tried to do the 1 for 1. It didn't work. The only thing that worked for me was you can't have pop until your water's done for the day. Okay, fine. Clean, simple, nice little safety net. So really a safety net can be put in place for just about anything that you're having a problem with. Oh, I do my worst eating, in the evening when I'm in my office shredding my paperwork. Okay, maybe we need a safety net that if the shredder's on, we don't eat. It's all going to be situational specific. It's just about putting something in place so that it's harder for you to fail. That's what a safety net is. It's there to stop you from falling on your face. And you can choose to view it as chains. Oh shit, I can't eat with the refrigerator door open anymore. This is awful. I hate this. And I really did. I'm not being facetious here. I really did hate not being able to eat with my fridge door open. But I also knew it was probably the best thing I could do. And it was going to help me in the long run. It was just a gentle little safety net, but that was really situational specific. You're going to have things like that in your life too. Maybe it's your car. Maybe it's your office. Maybe it's, I don't know, the far right-hand corner of your basement. Maybe it's things like whenever I order a pizza, I go overboard and I get the wings and the garlic bread and the this and the that. And maybe the safety net becomes when I have pizza, I have pizza. You're going to have to dig into this one for yourself. Take a look at those areas where you're struggling the hardest and go, what could I put in place here that's going to make this easier for me in the long run, even though I might be feeling a little bit of a squeeze in the short term? Incentives are all super personal and super specific too. And you can come at incentivizing damn near anything. You can incentivize the number on the scale. You can incentivize your tracking. You can incentivize your water, and you can use just about anything as an incentive. When I lose 10 pounds, I'm going to go for a pedicure. That's probably one of the examples that's used more often and that we hear most often. Find a way to do something for yourself, whether that's buying yourself something that you've always wanted, treating yourself to an experience that you've always wanted to have. But it can be little things too. And sometimes those little things can be even more rewarding. Maybe you really like to color. I don't know. Maybe you really like to crochet or do needlepoint or whatever. Maybe you really like to rock climb. I have no idea what it is that you like to do that maybe you don't carve out as much time for yourself as you would like. Maybe the next time you lose 3 pounds, you carve out, I get 45 minutes of uninterrupted coloring time. You can really do anything. I'm going to cook my favorite recipe. I'm going to, take some time to Zoom call my mother. You can incentivize literally anything. It's the experiences as well that you can incentivize too. Once I'm able to do this milestone, then I will get this. I will do this. The sky is truly the limit when it comes to finding ways to incentivize things. And honestly, I would start by figuring out what motivates you. What is going to drive you? What type of rewards are you going to work for versus the ones that you're going to be like, and just kind of let them go and be really honest with yourself. Like, I want to be the person who works out 5 times a week. I'm not. I don't know if I ever will be. Maybe. I don't know. It'd be very good for me. I'm still working on this muscle atrophy thing. It's coming, but try and pick incentives that you're actually going to stick with and that are things that you really do want. You have to look inward and know yourself pretty well to come up with these. I'm in the tracking zone at the moment. How do I ensure I can maintain the momentum and keep moving forward? Great question. Well, you can continuously recite my little mantra to yourself, which is there's only one way to lose weight. That's a calorie deficit. And the only way to know that you're in a calorie deficit is to track what you're eating. That makes tracking what you're eating the only weight loss shortcut out there. So maybe a little ditty like that one would be helpful. The biggest thing I think will help is to stay focused on those little wins. And just the fact that you're tracking every day is a win. That's not a little win. That's a pretty big win. Remind yourself of how good it feels when you are in the zone like you are right now. Keep focusing on how good it feels, because when you focus on good, you're going to want to attract more good and you're going to want to keep that good feeling coming. There's also nothing wrong with reminding yourself of how shitty you felt when you weren't doing your tracking and when you were struggling with it and when you were playing the guessing game all the time and trying to figure out why the scale was doing what it was doing. Tracking opens a window onto all of that. And really, it kind of is a safety net just for weight loss generally, because when you do get on that scale and you go, oh, what happened here? It's flat, or I gained a pound or 2 pounds. What's going on? Look back at your tracking. Look for where you might have gone off the rails a little bit. It can give you an indicator of what's going right and of what's going wrong. And if you think that you're tracking perfectly and the scale isn't moving, then you need to take a look at your tracking. Keep telling yourself the only way out is through. The only way that you're going to get this done is if you keep going. Starting and stopping sucks. Nobody likes the hamster wheel of I'm going to start, I'm going to stop, and then I fall off, and then I get back on, and I fall off. No, it all sucks. You don't want to do that anymore. So you remind yourself of how good it feels to be doing it, to be in the zone, and you tell yourself you're going to do what it takes to stay in that zone, and you're going to keep going. How many calories did you eat a day on average? That varied, even though we've got the word average there. When I was gaining weight and just before I started losing weight, I think I was taking in about 4,200 calories a day. My TDEE was 3,500 calories a day. And I was still gaining weight at a decent clip, at a pretty terrifying clip, actually. So yeah, about 4,200 calories a day when I started. My TDEE was 3,500, so that put me at 3,000 calories in a deficit. And then that just very gradually and incrementally kept going down as I lost my weight, because you re-enter your weight into your app and then it just recalculates it. So it's dropping it by 2 calories, by 5 calories. So you really don't even feel it. Right now, I'm at 1,700 calories and change at 137 pounds. It feels absolutely crazy to think that I used to eat more than double the amount of food that I'm eating now, because I'm eating a lot of the same foods. I haven't Like I'm not eating quinoa and kale salads all the time. I really probably don't maximize my 1700 calories a day, but I enjoy what I'm eating. I'm maintaining my weight and I feel really good about it. I feel like I'm kind of in a sweet spot. So I never thought, as somebody who used to eat more than 4,000 calories a day, I could say things like, I feel full and satisfied and really comfortable at 1700 a day, but I do. Would you consider sharing some of your milestone rewards? Sure. When I was losing weight the first time, we were young and broke. We just did not have a lot of spare money. So I didn't have like, oh my gosh, once I get 50 pounds off, I'm going to go on a ski trip or anything. There was nothing fancy like that. Most of my rewards were small things, small self-care things that were at the time big luxuries for me. Things like a face mask, or I went for a facial once as one of my milestones, and that was huge. Clothes were probably the biggest one because I'd buy stuff that was slightly aspirational. My favorite milestone that I hit was once I was able to zip up knee-high boots, because that one took a long time, like a really long time. And it was, I have big calves, I guess. And that was just huge because I had never been able to put a pair of boots on and do up the zipper all the way. So that one felt amazing. So a pair of zip up knee high boots. I actually have a pair of zip up thigh high boots. They're Steve Madden's and they're one of my favorite things that I own. That was a big milestone marker for me. Really I like clothes, I like shoes, all of that. And that didn't change once I lost the weight and I didn't have to use them to hide my body anymore. I still love purses. My best friend gave me a beautiful purse for my birthday. I was just like, yay. Yeah, clothes were the really big ones for us. After, it wasn't directly tied. Like it was never set up as a reward or as a milestone. But Sean and I did go on a trip shortly after I hit my goal weight, and that was pretty amazing. It was like an out of body experience because the first time I ever went away, like on an all inclusive trip to a resort, I'd never done that before. And I had just started losing weight. So I was still over 300 pounds the first time I went away. And it was such a big difference between that and then going away once I did hit my goal weight. It was pretty mind blowing, actually. Do you have any specific advice for how to maintain successfully without going backwards? Yes, I do. I have a lot of it, actually. I have 12 full weeks in my program called What Now, which is all about what do you do once you've got your weight off and how do you stop from backsliding. I've been pretty open, I think, about the fact that, yes, I am obsessed with weight loss. 100%. I want to teach as many people as I possibly can how to lose their weight by eating the foods that they love and doing it in a way that is healthy and sustainable. All about it. The thing that keeps me up at night, though, is the 85% recidivism rate. That is what I lose. I don't even know how much sleep over, an untold amount of sleep over the recidivism rate. It drives me crazy that people work so hard and spend so much time and effort and money to get their weight off. And then by the end of the first 5 years, 85% of us have gained it all back. And on average, we gain back 25% more than our starting weights, which is even more discouraging. That's what keeps me up. That's what I'm losing sleep about. Maintenance mode is very important. And I think if you're losing your weight in such a way that you're doing the behind the scenes work to change your relationship with food at the same time that you're trying to change your body, you're going to have a leg up over anybody who's just focused on the food exclusively and losing their weight that way. If you're already doing the behind the scenes work on your emotional connection with food and why you make the choices you make, etc., you're going to have an advantage because your relationship with food is going to be shifting while you lose your weight, so that once you get to your goal weight and you no longer have the safety net of a diet around you or the shakes or the supplements or the pills or whatever, once all that's gone and you're just left alone in a room with the food, what does your relationship look like now? If you've done the work to change that relationship, you have a huge advantage over someone who just focused on food, lost their weight, and now they're going, well, I'm not focused on the food anymore, so what the hell do I do? I did a full episode on this called Maintenance Mode. It was back in September when I started the 9 lists of 9 things. One of those lists was on maintenance mode, 9 ways to maintain your weight. I can't remember what episode number that was because I go into these not even having done more than just done a cursory read through of the list of questions as I copy and paste them over from the spreadsheet. So I should have probably done the research on this to have this. I know that once the episode goes up, we'll make sure that that episode is linked for you. I'm also working on a new handout for everybody on maintenance mode because I think it's really important. Off the top of my head, because I'm not going to go through the 9 things again, that wouldn't be fair. A big one is awareness. I think there's a lot of fear around regain, and it's completely understandable and it is totally justifiable. Nobody is going to blame you for being afraid of gaining your weight back, at least not around here. So awareness is going to be really important. You need to be getting on the scale, not going, well, do yearly weigh-ins and we'll see how it goes. That's a very dangerous road. I would not do that. I have very different advice for the scale, whether you're losing or whether you're in maintenance mode. When you're losing weight, it's once a week. Maintenance mode, it's like every day or every few days. For myself, I like to know what's going on and I don't track. I've been maintaining for so many years now that I just don't need to do it. My weight stays very, very stable. And part of the way I keep my weight stable is by getting on that scale and going, yep, cool, I'm good. If I get on the scale and I'm 3-4 pounds up, I go, what's going on? And I'll go back through my mind. How much salt have I had? What else has been going on? Am I probably got some water weight? When's my period coming? I'll take a look at all those things. If the 3 to 4 pounds makes sense under looking at it through that lens and you go, oh yeah, my period's going to start. That's going to come right off. It'll be fine. Oh yeah, shit, I went out for dinner yesterday. It'll be a salt spike. It'll be fine. I'll dismiss it. If it's up that 3 or 4 pounds though, like the next 4 weigh-ins, I know I've got to rein things in, take a look at what I'm doing, make sure that, I'm eating where I need to be eating at maintenance, and then I'm not slowly creeping up my calories. Setting new goals for yourself is also really important. Obviously, non-scale victory type goals. You have a scale goal, which is to keep the scale roughly the same. That's the goal there. Fine, cool. And you can set up maintenance rewards. And I definitely would encourage you to do so. If I maintain my weight within 3 pounds for 6 months, I'm going to go do X. If I maintain my weight for a year, I'm going to go do Y. Those type of things. Brilliant idea. But I would set new non-scale victory goals for yourself as well. And they don't have to be anything connected to weight. Sure, having goals to increase your movement, to increase your balance, to increase your stability. I have a goal to put more muscle mass on my frame. And I don't mean like a bodybuilder. I just mean to get some sort of muscle on my frame. Those types of goals can be super, super helpful and super, super motivating. And what are the things that you said you were going to do once you lost the weight? Do them. There is no greater incentive than actually getting to live the life that you wanted to live when you were still heavy, now that you've got the weight off. Nothing is going to reinforce it more. Nothing is going to make you feel happier than actually getting to do the things that you said you were going to do and the things that you always wanted to do. It's very, very powerful. It's also very powerful to remind yourself of where you've come from. And I don't mean sitting there beating yourself up and, oh God, how could I have let that happen? No, I mean going, yeah, that did happen. I overcame it. I worked my literal ass off. Here I am. I don't want to go back. There's nothing wrong with reminding yourself that you don't want to end up back where you were. Is there a withdrawal period from overeating that ties into your emotional state and your mental health? If so, how long does this last? I don't know what the research says on this. Anecdotally, and just from my personal experience and from the experiences of the people that I work with, yes, absolutely. And you're right. It is an emotional thing. We get very attached to the amount of food that we can eat. It's not always about the eating. Sometimes it's just about moving your hand back and forth to your mouth and just filling that void with food. Even after we're full, even after we've stopped enjoying what we're eating, sometimes it is just about the chewing and it's just about the eating. And because that stuff is so closely tied to our CRC issues, the comfort, reward, and copes, the reasons why we eat in the first place when we're doing emotional eating, it's something that can be especially hard to let go of. They're patterns that can be really, really tough to change, especially if that's the thing that we've done to comfort, to cope, or to reward ourselves. It's that much harder to let it go. So yeah, if you feel like you're in withdrawal from your ability to just sit there and eat however much you want, I think that's completely valid. How long it lasts is going to be an individual thing. It will pass. It will get easier. I promise you it gets easier. You just have to keep going. Sometimes questions come in the form of statements, and this is one of them. And I always reply to them too. I'm worried I'm too old. You're not too old. It's never too late. You definitely can do this. When I was first starting out years ago, I think it's got to be 6 years ago now, my first clients were all women over 60. The majority of my first clients were women over the age of 70, and they all lost weight. So there's so much messaging that women can't lose weight after menopause. Women can't lose weight once they enter perimenopause. Women can't lose weight after this rhetoric has never stopped. The age keeps going up slightly, but it doesn't seem to go away. I'm sure at one point they were telling women, oh, if you're over 25, you're screwed. You can't lose weight. It's social messaging. It's cultural messaging. Is it harder? Maybe in some ways. And I know I touched on this a couple episodes ago, but in some ways, I actually think it's easier. I think age gives you a perspective and an ability to come at things in a slightly different way than people who, I guess, are younger maybe would have. Things shift as we get older. We value things a little bit differently. And I think especially as women, we hit a point in our lives, maybe when the kids are grown up, that we can look at ourselves and go, oh shit, what about me? And it can absolutely feel like it's too late. It is not too late. You can do this. You can do this in your 70s. I've never started out with someone in their 80s, so I can't speak to that. But I know 100% for sure, women in their 70s absolutely can lose significant amounts of weight. 100%. When you're calculating your TDEE, how do you decide which activity level to pick? It varies a lot week to week. That's a tough one. And it depends on how big of a swing we're talking. Like, are you completely sedentary one week and then the next week you're doing, 5 to 7 hours of very intense cardiovascular activity? If it's that type of a jump, you might need to work with different TDEEs during those periods. If we're talking, well, sometimes on Wednesdays I go to the gym, but on Tuesdays I don't. And then, I walked over to the store on Thursday. If it's just little shifts like that, I would err on the side of lower. And I know that's going to give you fewer calories, but given how often people make tracking mistakes, I would err on the side of lower. I would still not be adding calories back, but go with the average. So if, 5 out of 7 days you're completely sedentary, go with sedentary. That would be my advice there. During your fasting, did you eat anything you wanted at night? Like if you wanted 2 cups of rice, would you have it? Yes. And yes. So long as the rice was within my calories, you betcha. I would eat literally anything I wanted. If I wanted to get out a frying pan, fill it with mozzarella cheese, melt it, and eat it with a spoon. Yep, I could do that. If I just wanted to use all of my calories on ice cream in an evening, you betcha. Here's a great thing about calories. Calories can't tell time. They don't care. And all of that horse shit that we were fed in the 90s about how everything you eat after 7:30 gets converted and stored as fat immediately. Horse shit. It's all garbage. None of it's true. We all know people who work shift work. Calories can't tell time. You do not have to worry about this. I know this upsets a lot of people. They call it an oversimplification. I'm about to use some profoundly triggering language, so forgive me. The unfortunate reality, I think it's thermodynamics might be to blame here. Calories in, calories out. Nobody likes it. It's still the truth. If you're taking in more calories than your body needs, you're going to gain weight. If you're taking in fewer calories than your body burns, you're going to lose weight. That's how it works. Whether you take those calories in during the day, whether you take them in at night, whether all of your calories are bacon and bubblegum or all of your calories are quinoa and kale. Calories a calorie. And I know satisfaction, blah, blah, blah. I understand all of that other stuff. We have talked at great length about all of that other stuff. But the truth is, it still comes back to calories in, calories out. So yes, if you're in a calorie deficit, you can eat anything you want. You can eat nothing but bacon and bubblegum and you will still lose weight. I promise you. And I know because you guys keep, and I'm sorry, this is totally a random aside, but I said the bacon and bubblegum thing. I'm getting the emails. I've got the messages. I've had no way to communicate this to you guys. So I guess I'll do it here. T-shirts will come as soon as we can get that YouTube channel monetized. I am dancing as fast as I can to get it done, to get a store opened up. But the truth of the matter is I can't sit here and watch the videos to make that little counter go around. That's on my audience. So yes, I'm working on it. Bacon and bubblegum, the Gladys t-shirts. I know some of you are even submitting designs for t-shirts. I so appreciate it. I want to do it. I just need to get that shop up and running and we'll get there. I promise. Is it normal to be in a calorie deficit and not lose any weight? No, it is not. It absolutely is not. Here's what is normal though. It is very normal to think you're in a calorie deficit and not understand why you're not losing weight. That is profoundly normal. That happens every day, all the time. That's happening to people. That's not just you. Tracking calories accurately is very, very difficult. It also depends on whether you're a yo-yo dieter. I'll reference back to a question that we had earlier in the day. People do have problems with their metabolism that don't allow it to happen if they're in a calorie deficit. Those problems are extremely rare. Very, very rare. Not nearly as common as the internet would like us to believe. But no, it is definitely not normal to be in a calorie deficit and not lose any weight. What's more than likely happening is that you're not losing weight because you're not actually in a calorie deficit. And I'm really sorry to have to say that. I don't like saying it, but it's just a hard truth of weight loss. All right, we have got, I think, 5 questions left on our list. So lucky number 13 today is our good for you, Gladys, question of the week. For this one to make sense, you need to understand that this came in based on my nacho cheese recipe. I make nacho cheese using cottage cheese in these packages I get. Anywho, super triggering, apparently. The dip itself was fine. I did get a few attacks on the cheese dip just because I used a processed package but anyway, anytime you use a package, people get mad. I saved a boatload of calories with my recipe hack. It's less than half the calories in the stuff that you buy in the store in the jar. The issue here was that instead of just showcasing my nacho cheese dip, I used a chip. I used a chip. You know how most people, I don't tend to dip carrot sticks into hot nacho cheese. Maybe that's just me. I don't like to put cucumbers into it either. I like to have tortilla chips with nacho cheese. Okay, so I had shown myself dip, problem. Out came Gladys, all caps screaming, but the chip choice to dip. Lost it. That looked like a Frito. One more than cancels out the other in a negative way. Seed oils are killers. Be aware. Okay, so there's a lot going on in that little message. That was like a Gladys combo pack. We rang a whole bunch of bells there. She's mad about the calories. She's mad about my processed chip. And I'm not quite sure how seed oils got drug into this one because I didn't make it with avocado oil or coconut oil or anything like that. But no, she's very, very upset about the seed oils. She's not the only one. Seed oils are a bit of a hot button issue right now. Here's the thing though, Glads. If I save more than half the calories with the dip itself, I can do things like use the Fritos or the Tostitos or the whatevers to dip in the nacho cheese because I've made a conscious effort to save calories already. I've taken a food that was insanely high in calories. I have made it less high in calories. I'd say maybe moderately high, if even that, or just normal, average amount of calories. And now I can enjoy it guilt-free. You don't get to take that from me because you have decided that Fritos are bad. And whether it's the Fritos are bad because they're made out of corn or they're fried in seed oil. I don't give a shit what your issue is. You don't get to take that from me. I found a way to make it healthier. I found a way to make it better. I even found a way to increase the protein in the stuff. So you don't get to take that away from people just because it's not what you would consider a healthy choice. Healthy choices are relative, and eating a smaller amount of a better for you nacho cheese is a better option than the alternative. It's better than the way that it was. And I'm all about those small incremental changes. So thank you so much for making me aware of the killer seed oils. I think I'm going to be okay. Thanks for coming out though. Did you ever track macro or micro nutrients? I use my Fitness Pal, and sometimes I feel bad about not fulfilling the daily recommendations. Yeah, those pop-ups are awful, aren't they? You've exceeded your fat recommendation for the day. Too much sodium. Yeah, they're a bit alarming. Ignore them. Just ignore them. It's okay. And oh, sorry, to answer your question right off the hop. No, I didn't. No. The short, the long, all of the answers is no. No, I did not track macros. I did not track micros. I wasn't, consumed with how much vitamin A I was taking in every day. None of that stuff. And I'm not making fun of anybody. I know you're being told that the secret to weight loss is to only eat, 33% of your daily calories have to come from carbs. And they've got all these numbers. No, bacon and bubblegum. Bacon and bubblegum. Learning to balance your macros can be a healthy tool to improve your satiety. But again, everybody's different when it comes to how satisfied they feel with different foods. So it can be a helpful tool, but it is not mandatory. It is not something that you have to do to lose weight at all. You just need to get the calories under control. It doesn't matter which of the macros you're bringing them in from. And no, I absolutely did not. If you can, turn off the daily reminder things so that you don't feel bad if you're finding that it's triggering you and making you question what you're doing. Don't question what you're doing. Just get those calories in line and the macros can take care of themselves later. Whenever I eat salty food, I instantly gain at least 1.5 pounds. Normally, I make my food, so I can clearly see I've been putting way too much salt in the recipe. Processed stuff like pizza, chicken fingers, and fries are not common for me, but I do throw it down on occasion. And I like salty foods. How do I find good replacements for the salt? I'm tired of gaining and losing the same 5 pounds. Help. It's normal. It's totally normal for the scale to go up after you've taken in a lot of sodium. That's just the way that your body processes it. It has to hold on to water to flush the salt out of your system. So you're right not to be too worried about that. I think it's great that you're controlling your sodium at home. It's definitely harder to control with processed foods because you didn't put the salt in there. I'm not sure. I don't have a country of origin for this country. I know in Canada, they have to tell us how much sodium is in the food that we purchase at the store. I'm not sure even about America if they have to tell you that information, or at a restaurant. I'm not quite sure. There aren't a ton of replacements for salt. Here's what I would do. I would cut it back gradually, incrementally, because your palate for salt can really shift. I think I've told the story before about spending 3 years gradually knocking back my husband's sodium intake because he came from a family that just ate just crazy amounts of salt on, like you could see the salt glistening on their plates. They used so much. So it was a conscious effort on my part to bring that down for him in a way that he wouldn't notice. This is going to seem really random, but you've asked, so I've got to tell you something that I have found, because I have to really watch my salt too because of my kidneys. Something that I have found is that adding a leek, I don't know what it is about leeks, but adding even a small amount of leek to foods takes away, it makes it taste salty, even though there's no salt in it. And I really can't explain it. And I mean, like, I'll make, a potato leek soup, for example, and I'll use no sodium added broth to make it. You put a leek in there and you'd swear that I'd had the salt shaker at it, but I haven't. So depending on your palate, there are different foods you can use, different seasonings you can use. There might be a spice blend that you really enjoy that doesn't have salt added, or perhaps it's one that you can replicate yourself. I make all my own taco seasoning, for example, so that I can control the salt in it. You can get the recipe online for the flavor profile that you enjoy. Put in a smaller amount of the salt and then just keep reducing it until you've essentially eliminated it, because your palate will shift for you. Oh, this one came in from a flamingo too. I'm not sure how it ended up down here at the bottom of the list, but that's okay. It's on the episode. Here we go. Can you address your thoughts about hypnosis as a tool for weight loss in your podcast? I know you did a recent episode on quote unquote snake oil scams, but I don't believe you touched on hypnosis. I did not touch on hypnosis. And I'll be honest with you, I have seen advertisements for it. It's kind of on my radar. I don't have any personal experience with it, and I don't know anyone who does. I've never worked with anyone who does, and I've never even interacted with someone online. And I interact with thousands of you guys online, and I've never spoken to anyone who has had hypnosis for weight loss. If anyone listening has had hypnosis for weight loss and you would like to write in and let me know what that experience was like for you, I'm very curious to know. I do know people who have tried hypnosis for other things, smoking in particular, and they did not find success with that. But I've never known anyone who's done it for weight loss. So I'd love to hear your experiences. If you guys have tried it, I'd love to hear that. Okay, last up today is a great question. They're all great questions, but I really like this one too. How long should I stay at each level until getting down to TDEE minus 500? Right now, I'm trying to hit 2,800 calories a day. When should I move down to 2,600? I would say give yourself at least a week at 2,800 before you move down to 26. I would even consider making it a smaller interval. If you're only going to do a week, maybe do a week at 2,800, then a week at 27, then drop the following week to 26. They're not huge shifts. 100 I mean, that's what, 2.5 Oreo cookies. It's not a huge deal. But the more gradual you make it, the easier it's going to be. And you have the time, so take the time. You're doing this right now so that you don't have to keep doing it again and again and again later. So give yourself and your body the time to adjust. If you want to do the 200 calorie jump, give it a go. If it's too much, bring it back up. Go up to 2,700. If you can't hit the 26 and live at 27 for a week, you could try 2 weeks at 2,800 and then a firm commitment to drop to 26 after the second week. That would be another way to do it. It's okay to take your time. I know you're impatient. I know you want to get this done as quickly as humanly possible. We all do. It's more important to do it the right way and to do it in a way that's sustainable than it is to do it fast. Fast is not, we're the tortoise and the hare. And in this race, we want to be the tortoise. We are the tortoise. That's what you want. All right, next week I will be back with episode 98, and I'm working on something, but it's pretty personal, and honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to have it done in time or if I'll be ready to talk about it in time. I'm also working on a special for the 100th episode. Feel free to write in with anything you'd like to hear me talk about. If you have specific questions, absolutely. If you have suggestions for podcast episodes, something you just want me to talk about generally, I would love to. Write in. Let me know. We'll make sure you've got all that information. You can go to my website, disruptingobesity.com. There's a form there that you can just fill your question in and send it along if you'd like. And if you'd like to see your questions get moved to the top of the list, make sure you come check out Flamingo Forum. It is a completely different approach to weight loss, and I would love to see you there. In the meantime, keep trying, keep tracking, don't be intimidated, and don't give up. You've totally got this. Thank you for listening to Disrupting Obesity with Charlotte Skanes. If you know it's time to take back control, lose the weight, and keep it off, reach out to me privately with a direct message on Instagram that says ready, so you can start disrupting obesity.